A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You've known the alphabet your whole life. You learned it before you could even tie your shoes. You sang it, you recited it, you filed things according to it. But here's the question no one ever seems to ask. Why is the alphabet in that order? Why is B after A? Why does M sit in the middle? And who decided Z gets to go last? Today we're going to unravel one of the weirdest, most overlooked mysteries in human history: why the alphabet is arranged the way it is. Spoiler alert, it's older, stranger, and more poetic than you think. Let's go on a journey through time, language, and some truly ancient writing systems. And by the end of this video, you'll never see the ABCs the same way again. The alphabet, so obvious, it's invisible. The alphabet is so embedded in our daily lives that we never question it. You use it to look up contacts. You use it to sort your files, organize books, do crossword puzzles, and figure out what comes after L without thinking. It's like the operating system of literacy, but most people don't realize the order of the letters is completely made up. It wasn't handed down by nature. It's not based on sound frequency or logic or science. It's ancient human storytelling that somehow stuck. So let's rewind. Way back. Where the alphabet actually came from. First things first, the alphabet we use today, called the Latin alphabet, comes from a long, twisty line of evolution that began over 3,000 years ago. Our ABCs are descended from the Phoenician alphabet, invented around 1050 BCE in what is now Lebanon, Syria, and northern Israel. The Phoenician alphabet was the first widely used writing system based entirely on sounds, what we now call an alphabet rather than picture-based scripts like Egyptian hieroglyphs. And here's where it gets juicy. The order of the Phoenician letters was almost exactly the same as today's. Yes, that ABC pattern we all memorized, that thing is over 3,000 years old. The alphabet song is basically an ancient chant. In fact, linguists think the alphabet order was originally taught through songs or rhymes, much like the alphabet song today. Why? Because early societies were mostly oral. People passed knowledge down by memory. Songs made it easier to remember the sequence, especially for merchants, scribes, and tax collectors who needed a system to track stuff. So the alphabet's order might not be logical, but it is musical. And that's why it stuck. What A used to look like. Let's take a quick detour into the first few letters. Did you know that the letter A was originally a picture of an ox head? In Proto-Sinaitic script, an early ancestor of Phoenician, A looked like a pointy triangle with two horns. When it was rotated and simplified over time, it eventually became the A we know today. Same with B, which used to be a picture of a house. C, a throwing stick. D, a door. These weren't random shapes, they were symbols for actual things. The first few letters of the alphabet weren't abstract at all. They were practical tools in a symbolic system. But over time, as writing systems spread and evolved, the symbols became stylized and eventually meaningless except for the sounds they made. But why this specific order? Okay, so the shapes make sense, but what about the sequence? Why does M come after L? Why is Q way down there near Z? Here's where things get weird. We don't know exactly why the letters were arranged in this order. There's no linguistic reason, no clear mathematical structure. But there are some theories, and they're fascinating. Theory 1. The order is phonetically balanced. One theory suggests that early scribes may have grouped letters based on how they sounded, starting with simpler sounds, like A and B, and gradually including more complex or rare ones, like X and Z. It's kind of like learning to speak. Babies say baba and mama before they say quack or zebra. So maybe the order was meant to reflect a natural learning curve. Theory 2. It was a memory device for traders. Another theory says the order was designed for commerce. Ancient Phoenician traders needed a consistent system to track inventories, label goods, and trade across different cities and languages. A standardized alphabetical order made it easier to organize things, just like today's spreadsheets. Think of it like the world's first inventory management system, except instead of Excel, it was tablets, and wax boards. Theory 3. The order was a rhythm. Here's the coolest theory. The order was kept not because it made sense, but because it felt right. The alphabet might have originally been taught as a chant or song. The rhythm, the way certain letters fit together, made them easier to remember. Once enough people learned it, the order became cultural glue. It's the same reason we remember the order of planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, or even the days of the week. Once something is rhythmic, repeated, and useful, it sticks. The Greeks changed the game. Now, let's fast forward to around 800 BCE. The Greeks adopted the Phoenician alphabet, but they made a few big changes. They added vowels. That's huge. The Phoenician alphabet was entirely consonants, but Greek added A, E, I, O, and U, turning it into a true phonetic system. The Greeks kept the general order mostly intact, though they called the letters alpha, beta, gamma, etc., which is where we get the term alphabet from, alpha, beta. From there, the alphabet passed to the Romans, who adapted it into the Latin alphabet, the one we use today. Romans tweaked it, but kept the order. The Romans made their own edits. They dropped some letters like Z temporarily, more on that in a second. They added others like G. They eventually re-added Y and Z at the end to absorb Greek words. But guess what? They still kept the original order. So, by the time the Latin alphabet took over Europe, via conquest, colonization, and printing presses, the A to Z sequence had been drilled into the fabric of literacy itself. The mystery of Z. Let's talk about the dramatic life of the letter Z. In early Latin, Z was considered unnecessary. It was booted from the alphabet around 300 BCE because Romans didn't use the /Z/ sound much. But centuries later, they wanted to borrow Greek words like zodiac and zoo, so they re-added Z to the alphabet. But instead of putting it back in its old place, they just slapped it at the end. And that's why Z is the final letter today. Not because it always was, but because it got kicked out and came back late. And then, nothing changed. Once printing became widespread in the 15th century, the alphabet's order was basically frozen. Textbooks, dictionaries, encyclopedias, filing systems, everything relied on the same A to Z sequence. Changing it would be like changing the layout of your keyboard, chaos. So now, over 3,000 years since the Phoenicians first sang their ABCs, we're still marching through that same lineup every time we look up a word, organize a folder, or sing the alphabet song. So, why is the alphabet in that order? Because ancient traders needed a system. Because scribes needed a song. Because the Greeks liked vowels. Because the Romans liked structure. Because kids needed to memorize it. Because everyone used it. So nobody dared change it. The order doesn't mean much in terms of language structure, but it means everything in terms of cultural continuity. It's a system that survived empires, revolutions, and TikTok trends, and it's still going strong. Fun facts to blow your mind. The ABC song, it's based on the tune of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which was originally a French melody from the 18th century. In ancient Hebrew and Arabic, the alphabet also follows a similar order: Aleph, Bet, Gimel. Some early alphabet charts included thorn and ethen, letters we no longer use. I and J were originally the same letter. Same for U and V. So even the letters themselves have a dramatic history. Conclusion. So next time you sing the alphabet song, or look something up in alphabetical order, or wonder why Q and U are always hanging out together, remember this: the alphabet is one of the most successful inventions in human history. Its order may seem random, but it's actually a 3,000-year-old echo of ancient voices, rhythms, and choices that shaped how we write, read, and remember today. It's not just letters, it's language, it's legacy, it's history hidden in plain sight. If this video gave you a new appreciation for the ABCs, drop a like, subscribe for more hidden history and surprising knowledge, and tell us in the comments, which letter do you think deserves a promotion? Should Z still be last? Should X be exiled? Should we finally give Q a break? Let's talk about the alphabet like it's never been talked about before. Until next time, keep asking the weird questions, because sometimes the most ordinary things have the wildest stories.